What would you do if two freezing strangers knocked on your door in the middle of nowhere? Turn them away? Pretend you never saw them? Or risk everything? That single decision changed one man's life, forever, in the isolated mountain settlement of Frost Hollow lived a lumberjack named Rowan Hale. People joked that the pine trees had more conversations than Rowan ever did. He lived alone in a rough cabin buried beneath endless forests, spoke only when necessary, and trusted almost nobody. His routine never changed. Wake up, cut wood, hunt, sleep, repeat. Then one winter evening, while eating stew outside the village inn to avoid the noisy crowd inside, Rowan noticed two figures emerging through the snowstorm. Not travelers, not merchants. Two young women dressed in clothing completely unsuited for the freezing mountains. Their cheeks were pale, their hands trembling, but neither looked frightened. One quietly asked, "Would you mind if we had whatever you're not going to finish?" No pleading, no dramatic speech, just a simple question. If you were Rowan, would you share? He pushed the bowl toward them without saying another word. The women thanked him politely, ate with surprising dignity, and prepared to disappear back into the blizzard. Just then, the local marshal, Gideon Cross, stepped outside. "They don't belong here," he warned. "Send them away." Rowan watched the pair start walking into certain death. Something inside him refused. "You can stay one night, nothing more." The walk to his cabin happened almost entirely in silence. Inside, the place was spotless but painfully empty. He placed blankets beside the fireplace, pointed toward them, then simply went to sleep. No questions. No conditions. By sunrise, everything had changed. Instead of sleeping, the visitors had cleaned the entire cabin. One repaired torn clothes with astonishing craftsmanship. The other cooked breakfast from whatever little food remained, when Rowan awkwardly gestured that it wasn't necessary. The taller woman smiled. "We don't accept kindness without earning it." Her name was Alina. Her younger sister introduced herself as Nora. One night quietly became several weeks. Without discussion, everyone found their role. Rowan hunted, Alina organized. Supplies, Nora repaired tools and clothing. The lonely cabin slowly transformed into something it had never been before, a home. But not everyone appreciated this arrangement. Rumors spread through Frost Hollow. Some called the sisters outsiders, others claimed they were thieves. Marshal Cross warned Rowan more than once. "People are talking." He ignored every warning. Then disaster struck. During the season's worst blizzard, Nora collapsed with violent coughing and a raging fever. Her breathing became shallow. Her face burned. Alina, normally calm, finally looked terrified. "Please." "She needs a doctor." The nearest physician lived miles away through impossible weather. Rowan wrapped himself in heavy fur and walked directly into the storm. Hours later, he reached Dr. Silas. "Mercer!" The doctor's expression shifted, strangely after hearing who was sick. "The girls from your cabin?" For a split second, he looked almost uneasy. Then he gathered his supplies. The journey back nearly killed them both. Mercer examined. Nora quickly, severe lung infection. He left medicine and ordered constant warmth before departing. But as he rode away, he glanced back toward the cabin with unmistakable tension. 2 days later, Nora suddenly improved. The fever vanished almost overnight. Relief filled the cabin. Until horses arrived, Marshal Cross stood outside with armed deputies. Dr. Mercer rode beside them. "We have reason to believe these women are fugitives connected to stolen railway funds," the marshal announced. "They'll be coming with us." Rowan stepped in front of the cabin. "No." Mercer smiled. Then Alina opened the door. She looked directly at the doctor, not with fear, with recognition and absolute contempt. "You've been hiding long enough," Lee swallowed the mountain. Rowan looked between them, confused. Then Alina calmly spoke words nobody expected. "We didn't come here by accident." Everything Rowan believed instantly unraveled. According to Alina, Mercer wasn't originally a doctor at all. Years earlier, he had served as financial overseer at a massive construction camp in the South. Workers vanished, payroll disappeared, witnesses died under mysterious circumstances, including their father. Authorities never proved anything. Mercer simply reinvented himself and disappeared into the mountains. For years, nobody could reach him. Nobody could expose him. So the sisters created a different plan. Nora's illness? Fake. The medicine? Unnecessary. The terrifying fever had been produced using a rare herbal compound that temporarily mimicked deadly symptoms. They knew only one person stubborn enough to drag a doctor through a blizzard. Rowan Dewars. He wasn't chosen randomly, had a reputation throughout the region for helping people despite pretending not to care. Mercer, believing himself safe, would never refuse such a visit. And finally, he had walked straight into their trap. The doctor panicked. He reached into his coat for a concealed revolver. Before anyone else reacted, Rowan's axe handle slammed into his wrist. The weapon disappeared into the snow. Deputies froze. Marshal Cross stared at Mercer, then at Alina, then back again. "You have proof?" Without saying another word, Alina removed a weathered journal hidden beneath her coat. Inside were payroll records, official signatures, personal notes, names of murdered workers, hidden transactions, and something even more damaging: Mercer's real identity. The marshal flipped through several pages before quietly lowering the book. He looked at Mercer. "I think we're done." Pretending. Handcuffs clicked shut. The doctor, who had hidden behind respectability for years, suddenly looked like the frightened man he truly was. As deputies led him away, the mountain seemed strangely quieter. Snow drifted gently across the empty road. For several minutes nobody spoke. Finally, Rowan looked at Alina. "Used me." She nodded. "Yes." "You lied?" "Yes." "And if I had refused to help?" She looked toward her sister. "We would have lost our only chance. No excuses, no emotional speech. Just honesty." Rowan glanced around the cabin. The repaired roof, the neatly stacked firewood, the carefully mended clothes, the warmth that hadn't existed before they arrived. Sometimes trust begins with deception. Sometimes family arrives wearing the face of strangers. And sometimes the quietest man in the mountains accidentally changes history simply by refusing to let two people freeze. After a long silence, Rowan picked up another log and tossed it onto the fire. "You'll have to stay." Alina blinked. "For tonight?" Rowan finally smiled. "No. For spring." Then after another pause, and probably after that too. The fire crackled. Outside, winter still ruled the mountains. Inside, something far rarer had finally found a place to live.